Jennings, Bryan.
Oh, my hero. He believed in nonviolent resistance. It's the task of the Christian to take care of those who cannot take care of themselves. I argued, I don't know that they should teach intelligent design in the public school, but neither should they teach Darwin. I don't believe in the survival of the fittest.
Jennings, Bryan.
Oh, my hero.
Is he your hero?
Yes, he is my hero. A secularist just recently wrote a book called God's Politician. And he sent me a copy of it and said, you know, you're an evangelical who's on the political left side of the equation. You ought to read this book that I've written on William Jennings Bryan because he should be your hero. And I read the book, and this man is my hero. He lived out the gospel so consistently. 3 times he was the candidate for the presidency under the Democratic Party. 3 times he lost. He was, under President Wilson, appointed as Secretary of State, but believed like I did about war. He believed in nonviolent resistance. When war was declared, he resigned as Secretary of State because he could not, in clear conscience, reconcile teachings of Jesus with war. He preached with great emphasis. He was on the Chautauqua Lecture Series. He spoke at the Methodist conference all over this country, and at the same time was the politician with the utmost integrity. And he always had as his mantra this: the criteria for a good politician is what he, I guess now he would have to say he or she, what he has to say and what he is willing to do for the least of the brothers and sisters. The rich and the powerful will take care of themselves. It's the task of the Christian to take care of those who cannot take care of themselves and to see what can be done to help them. His policies were incredible. Of course, he has the reputation, as you probably know, for the Tennessee trial, the Scopes trial on evolution. I don't know whether you were aware that he died 3 days after that trial was over and never got to deliver his closing argument. You know, after you present all your evidence, you have your closing argument. He never got to give his closing argument. And his closing argument was this: that first of all, he was opposed to evolution because he had just returned from Germany. This was, when between the wars and German militarism was beginning to build up again. He was in Germany and talked to German militarists, the generals in the army, who believed in evolution, and said, if you really believe in evolution, you should be in favor of war, because war is an instrument whereby inferior peoples are conquered by superior peoples. War is the way to get rid of the unfit. War is the test of history, and the superior will survive. Without war, there will not be natural selection. Without war, there will not be a survival of the fittest. I refuse, he says, to believe in a doctrine that glorifies violence. And in the end, evolution glorifies violence. The other thing he would have said is this, and I picked this up. I wrote an editorial for the Philadelphia Inquirer that some of it was picked up in the New York newspapers, in which, when the argument over intelligent design was being held forth, I argued, I don't know that they should teach intelligent design in the public school, but neither should they teach Darwin. Fair is fair. And then I came out with what my liberal friends could not handle, because nobody has taken the time to read Darwin. I mean, evangelicals condemn Darwin, they've never read him. Liberals defend Darwin, they've never read him. If you read Darwin, you will be shocked. He is the worst racist writer that I've ever read. In his book, the first book is The Origin of Species, the follow-up book is The Descent of Man. In The Descent of Man, he argues for the liquidation of inferior races. And then he has the audacity to name them. He wants to liquidate all the black people in Africa, a white racist wanting to not just say they're inferior people, wants to liquidate them, wants to liquidate the Aboriginal people in Australia because here's evolutionary doctrine. There are limited resources, and in the struggle for survival, there's not enough resources to take care of everybody. Therefore, it is the responsibility of the superior races to destroy the inferior races so that the superior races can reproduce and move forward in time and space. And then he names the races, as I said, the Aboriginal people and the black people of Africa. What's even worse is his doctrine became accepted parlance on the British government and became part of their foreign policy. So in Australia, the government actually, under the British, actually set out to liquidate the Aboriginal people. And they slaughtered them by the thousands. It was official policy. And they thought that it was a moral thing to do because they were getting rid of the inferior races to aggrandize the superior races. I say I don't want that taught in the public schools.
Yeah.
I don't think Darwin should be allowed in the public schools. I am against racism, and that's as racist as I don't know anything that's ever been written that is more racist than that, except for Hitler. And this has to be said. If you read the life of Hitler, you will find that his whole doctrine of the super race, the Nazis being the super race, was built on Darwin's theory of evolution. So it's not the biological argument that I want to get into. I don't want to get into the biological argument. As a sociologist, I want to get into the social Darwinist argument. And you know what's most scary about this, Mark?
Right.
Most of my evangelical brothers and sisters who reject Darwin's biological theories are social Darwinists. They basically believe in politics that it's laissez-faire and the survival of the fittest. And they really do believe that, you know, when it was this time for the bailout of General Motors, which is now making a comeback, no, if a company's inferior, it just ought to be allowed to die. I don't believe in the survival of the fittest. I believe that, in fact, we are brothers and sisters who are supposed to help each other along, and those who are better off have to help those who are not better off.
So you think the bailout was good?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think that the bailout should have been of another nature. I think that the thing that has caught the eye of everybody is not the $20 billion they gave to General Motors, Ford, and Chrysler. Instead, it was the $3 billion that they gave to ordinary Americans in that Junkers, Cash for Junkers program. They gave the money to people instead of the corporations, and people started buying cars again. And, I think that the bailout was good. I just feel it was directed at the wrong people. It should have been directed to the people at top. It should have been directed to the people at the bottom. I don't trust people at the top. We gave that big bailout to Wall Street, and those guys lined their own pockets, gave themselves $100 million bonuses. You read about that. I don't trust the guys at the top. I say, if you're going to have a stimulus, give it to the people at the bottom. Let them spend it, and if they spend it, it will stimulate the economy, and the economy will recover that way. We did more good with the $3.5 billion that we gave to ordinary Americans to buy cars than we did in giving much, much more money to the executives at the top to bail them out of their ill-founded policies of running the companies.